This is the Jimmy Anderson Show, the weekly report on Oregon State University basketball.
Hi everybody, I'm Bob Akamian along with the coach. Welcome to the Jimmy Anderson Show. Yes, it is Pac-10 basketball time already, and we've had 1 week of conference play. It's topsy-turvy. The Ducks and the Sun Devils are in first place. And the Cougars are in first place.
That's the big surprise, is the Cougars.
And Cal and Arizona are in last place. What is going on?
Well, it's just 1 week. We all felt ahead of time that this league was going to be strong from top to bottom, and I think it's showing that out. The real surprise is not so much Oregon, I think, at this point, is Washington State. The fact that a new coach, a new system, and they lost some very fine players. And here right now, they're sitting right up there at the top.
We always talk about that great truism, win them all at home and try to get a split on the road, and maybe getting a split at home is good some weekends.
Well, that certainly is. If you can get a split against some of the tougher schools, especially on the road, then you got a real chance. And everybody's good on the road. So the Washington schools have to go down to Southern California this weekend, and Washington State going to have to pay their dues, because I know both of those schools are not happy with their weekend up here.
I know Jim Herrick in particular, even though he got out of here with a win, he wanted to see some improvement at UCLA. So the Bruins will be outloaded for Bear, or should I say Cougar.
Well, I think they're going to be loaded for both.
Let's start off with last weekend's action for the Beavers. The home opener in conference play at Gill Coliseum. Big victory against Southern Cal. And anytime the Trojans are here, you and I talked about this during the week, it's just wild. They bring in great athletes, and it's an exciting ball game. Charlie Parker taking over for George Raveling. We miss George, but Charlie's been around him long enough. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's using their same system, and you can see here they're in kind of a matchup zone, which is very, very tough to penetrate into. But they always do have great athletes, as you alluded to, and they get a lot of them out of Southern California. They come from all over the country, and Murray is a new hot player on the coast as a freshman, and they took us right down the wire. We had our bad moments and good moments, and they're very, very strong.
Stephen Brown playing very aggressively right now and really giving you some good penetration on the offense.
Well, Stephen is a senior and one of our leaders on the court. He, Mustafa Hoff, and Brent Berry are probably our three bread and butter and jam men. They are the guys that have to do the majority of the work, play the heavy minutes, and we rely on them for everything from rebounding to assists to scoring. You name it, they have to do it.
And those three-pointers, Murray was taking them, Martin takes them, Bozeman was putting them down. You're fighting that outside shooting all the way. Stephen gets called a tough call here after the basket. And there's Vlad Heredia. Vlad getting his first start in this game. He looked good.
Well, with the injury to Jerron Brown, he stepped into the starting lineup, and each game he's improving. You can see Stephen didn't like that too well, and
Nor did the coach.
I'm not sure I liked it too much either. But I thought we played very unselfishly. We played hard. Our players were making plays for each other. They were talking well on the defense, and it was a very strong game for us.
Saw Brent Berry shooting warm-up this weekend, too. He was 8 of 11 against the Trojans. He hits a three-pointer here that after SC led early by 10 points, little run here of 7 straight made it close by halftime.
Well, it's not fun going in at halftime, but sometimes a few points here and there get you ready to come out in the second half, and that's what we basically did.
And right off the bat here, down 5 at the half. Here come the Beavers, and Brent's going to take this one all the way.
Well, Brent's one of the best cutters in regards to running the floor and cutting to open spots that there is in the country, and I think that's one of his real strengths, and it will be for a long time.
Here's a couple sequences here, and I know you want to guard against this. You get a basket and you let a team come right back down and score. This happened on back-to-back occasions.
Well, sometimes maybe you get a little excited and elated about your own performance on the offense, and what we need to do is get more stops, and when we do score, come down and blank them, and then get another good score and blank them, and stopping players from scoring is how you really win games. You don't always get a chance to outscore them.
Lorenzo Orr, he's had some big games against the Beavs over the years. Now here's Steph on the other end, and to take the shot, this gets it down to a 2-point game.
Well, their three-point shooters are devastating, and they're in their matchup zone again. They're very quick, they're good athletes, They overcompensated on a sagging situation, and we found Brent on the perimeter.
That puts the Beavs ahead midway through the second half. Here's big Vlad Heredia with the block. Take a look at that again. Nice to see a little beef underneath defending the
Well,
hoop.
he's, as they call in sports, a big body, and he gets in there and takes up a little bit of space.
And now Chief comes in and scores off the turnover. All of a sudden it's 59-53 for the Beavs, and there's just more of it coming. Some good passing and transition, and Brent sees the space. There it is.
Well, as I was just saying here, Stephen Brown gets the rebound. Brent streaks the floor. Stephen gets the assist, and then probably the next time down will be Mustafa doing something. We're hoping that some of the other players with a little more experience kind of chips in a little bit here and there, and that'll make us that much even stronger.
Brent hits the free throw after this foul. We're up 11 points. 4.5 minutes to go. And SC will make a run, and they go to the big man. Low Orr puts this in, draws the foul.
Well, backboard play is always very, very important, and they have some great jumpers, and we have to do a better job of keeping people off our backboard. But there's Mustafa. One of his great assets is that he has a great feel around the basket. He's capable of going outside, inside, but his inside game is pretty much unstoppable when he gets it in there low, because it's hard to check him. He's very quick with the release, and he'll follow his shots up when he's in there too. So a lot of times if he misses, he'll get the second attempt.
That was the shot to win it in regulation after Murray puts up the three to tie it. We are going overtime, and momentum going into an overtime can be so important. You get the first two baskets.
Well, you don't feel easy with a 4-point lead, but in overtime usually that will get you going. But they came right back, and here again their 3-point shooters are very, very good, and you got to pick them up at half court and keep pressure on them.
And so here we are. It's down to a 1-point game. Jelani Boline, he calls the bank and puts it in off the glass. Now it's 88-87, and here comes Mr. Murray again. He did it from the outside, and this one off the turnover. This looked like it might be fatal in the last 20 seconds.
Well, that was a big play because we had a nice pass into Sonny, and if it was a little hard maybe, and if Sonny handled that, he has one step in a stuff shot in.
So now down one, it's time for Jelani to take it to the rack. And there's your game winner. SC can't get off a shot. Excitement, maybe a little too much excitement for a coach. 90-89 the final. We'll take a look at the team numbers from this game. As everybody celebrates, Jelani, I think, still a little overcome there. He's ready to go out and play a little bit more.
Well, he's hit a couple big baskets. Each year he seems to come up with one. Last year was against Oregon.
That's right.
And this year against USC.
Look at the shooting numbers. It's nice to see the offense. You're back over 50% both games this weekend, and probably the numbers you don't like, got to hit those free throws, and obviously you want to get the rebounding numbers up a little.
Well, the rebounding and free throws always play an important part. And we at the early part of the year we were shooting in the 80s, high 70s, and then we slipped down into the 50s.
And happy birthday, Stephon Brown. 23 points, 4 rebounds. Nice night for him.
Some nice statistics there, and they were spread around with 3 or 4 different players. And as I said earlier, I hope that we get a few more people in the act.
All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at the UCLA game. The Bruins came in loaded for bear after losing at Oregon. What would happen? UCLA, Oregon State. We'll have the highlights when we come back. Well, it seems funny to say this, but it's hard to believe that UCLA comes in here, number 2 team in the country, and you get done and you feel like we should have won this basketball game. We outplayed them a lot of the way.
Well, we were up 8 points in the second half with maybe 10, 11 minutes to go, and we had the feeling that we had them right there at the right time, and then all of a sudden they started to play better. We made some crucial mistakes, missed a couple free throws. All of a sudden they were right there, and we have to foul at the end just to stay close.
Well, let's take a look at it. This was Saturday afternoon, Gill Coliseum, nice-looking crowd on hand. And, of course, regional live television. The big Bruins were there, and early on it looked like their pressure and their relentless play underneath, they were maybe going to run away with this game. There's Big Zedek, the center, going to the hoop early on, and now Charlie O'Bannon off a turnover. The press was effective early for UCLA.
Well, they haven't used the press this year hardly at all, and we had prepared for it because they use a 2-2-1 press many times, and we just didn't come out and attack it. We called a timeout after a few disastrous ball possessions, and all of a sudden our people were attacking, and finally we started to score off it, and then they got out of it right away.
And you got the ball inside well because it was Mustafa Hoff and Vladimir Heredia scoring inside. They get the first 4 baskets.
Well, here's, as I was just saying, we attacked their press, and all of a sudden we get it in behind, and Mustafa gets a nice basket.
That ties the score early on at 12-12, and then it's a dogfight most of the first half. Vladimir Heredia going in for a tip shot. Here's Stephen Brown. We talk about him being aggressive. This gets you in the bonus with over 12 minutes to play in the first half.
Well, they were fouling a lot, and it seemed like it was disparity in that regards, but we were in a zone a good portion of the time, and there's a tendency not to foul as much in the zone, and they were banging us around pretty good, so we did get some good free throws in the first half.
Nice takeaway by Brent here, and he gets clobbered going in. This is a flagrant foul, and now you're in the double bonus already.
You can see Brent can referee pretty good,
That's
too.
right. Now Brent's going to cast away from 3. Again, Brent, another improved shooting night. Only took 8 shots, but was 5 of 8 on the game.
Yeah, Brent's going to have to. We're going to have to get 15 to 20 shots for most of our seniors are going to have to get those kind of figures up on the board. Chief does almost every game. Brent sometimes, because we go into the post a lot of time and he helps us run our offense, might have a few less, but I'd feel very comfortable with him and Mustafa, especially shooting around that 20 times a game.
Well, there they are, Brent and then the Chief, and it's 41-35 at halftime. Beavers. That lead got up to 8 points in the second half, and then some strange things happened. Vladimir looks like a good block shot. Goaltending. Give him the basket. Go down to the other end. It doesn't get any better. Brent fouled, hits it. They don't give him the basket.
Well, we've looked at these quite a few different times, and it's quite evident from the angles that we see it on TV and the sounds of the whistle that there were a couple calls that could be questioned.
Mustafa Hoff from the outside with the 3, and now Ty Edney, smallest man on the floor for UCLA, makes it happen off the turnover. All of a sudden, UCLA's come back, taking the lead with 11 minutes to go. And they're going to stretch that lead because number 11 drills it from the outside. And now UCLA with the lead, trying to hang on.
Well, their seniors came to the front when they needed it. They always go to Edney. It seems like when they need direction, get the ball to the right people, penetrate, dish it like he did right there. He's always been very difficult for us to control.
Big man Zedek with the hook. Ed O'Bannon finally getting into the offense. They couldn't get him the ball, really. He didn't have too many shots.
Well, he was being played pretty hard by Mustafa, and he goes inside and out, and Chief can stay with people on the perimeter and also with people on the inside.
There he is on the other end scoring. 27, already a career high for Mustafa Hoff. 3-point game. There he is again for the tip. He's up to 31, extending that career high. UCLA ended up winning this despite the disparity for free throws for the Beavers early. It was the Bruins going to the free throw line late. Bailey draws the foul. They hit 8 straight free throws down the stretch. Now, they're not number 1 in the poll. They're number 6 now this week, but UCLA gets out with the win on the split, 87-78. Again, good offensive performance. Like to make a few more free throws, and the rebounding, so really the same team story as SC for the numbers.
Well, we'd like to get a few more free throws, especially in the second half, and UCLA shot 70% in the second half, so that's pretty hard to combat itself. But we shot ourselves enough in the foot on our own performance that this is what you kind of have to take when you're not playing that well in crunch time.
We'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back, and we'll also meet the Chief. Mustafa Hoff, celebrating his career high, will be our special guest when the Jimmy Anderson Show continues. Well, it's time to meet Mustafa, which sounds a little strange because Mustafa Hoff has been with us for a few years. But after a year away, I think people forgot what you look like out there. And it's great to see you back and playing well, getting the career-high 31 points against UCLA. That has to be a thrill against the Bruins.
Well, that's true. You know, I just came out and decided to just play hard and matching up with Ed O'Bannon, you know, I always been waiting for that. But, you know, it was a good game. You know, we played hard, and I enjoyed the game.
I think Coach mentioned that might have been the best number of the night. You hold O'Bannon to just 8 shots from the field. That might say more than the 31 points.
Well, yeah, I was just trying to, you know, just get around him, you know, try to make sure he don't get the ball, you know, and because when he gets the ball inside, he does a lot of damage with it, you know. So that was my job for the night, and, you know, I think I did a pretty good job.
You, Coach, you want to add to that?
Well, Mustafa has all the tough chores because the night before he had to check Orr from USC, and right on down the line it seems like every team has an outstanding what they call a four-man or the big forward spot. So he doesn't get rest anytime. So I'm not surprised that he's doing these heavy-duty chores for us, but he has to, and he has to play lots of large minutes, and lots of times he doesn't get much rest.
Well, you had a whole year off, so you're probably not too anxious for the rest. A year ago this time, I mean, obviously, Coach wanted you to try and play.
Yeah.
You thought the year off would work out for you, and in a sense, this has worked out for the best because you're in great shape now. But as last year went along, did you ever start thinking, oh, maybe I should come back now, maybe I could help him now?
Yeah, I thought about it, but you know, just what the doctors had to say and for my health, you know. So and Coach Anderson knew what was going on, but at times I thought about just coming and playing, but you know, my team has understood my problem I had with back surgery and all that, and you know, everybody understood what was going on. So, you know, just kind of just out there just cheering, just watching our players.
Besides that, it's important for all our athletes to get their degree, and the fact that he had this additional year is going to put him on schedule for graduating. And so I thought it was important too, as long as he was injured. The fifth year had to be there for graduation, and this just made it kind of a nice way to do it. Still being able to rehabilitate and get in good shape for the next year, and then let's hope when June comes around he'll get that diploma.
And I know you played pretty fearlessly. Anytime you take that much time off with an injury, you always wonder, well, the first few times out, how aggressive can I be? And you're battling away in there, so obviously you got over that fear pretty quick.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I got over it during the summer. You know, I worked hard during the summer. I played with a couple of good players down in the Bay Area. And, you know, just a matter of just getting over that fear, and I did it throughout the summer, so. And I'm back just playing now.
I know you struck up a friendship with Vladimir Heredia when Vlad was being recruited, and he's come on here and played very well early on. Just talk about that bond you two made.
Well, you know, Vlad came out here, and then, you know, we just, you know, had just conversations going on. You know, I told him the truth about, you know, Oregon State University and how it is over here, and he decided this was the right place for him to come. And, you know, and out there on the court, you know, he's been doing pretty good. Everybody get along with him pretty well, and you know, he's been doing a great job so far.
So some of your best recruiting help coming right here on the team.
Well, our players are our best sales people, let's face it. If it wasn't for them and the job they do in recruiting, we wouldn't have some of the people here that we have today or from past years.
Well, a man worth the wait, Chief. We're glad you're with us this year. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. Just ahead, we will preview the one game on the schedule this week. It's a big one, the Ducks. Civil War, round one, coming up at Gill Coliseum. We'll talk about it when the Jimmy Anderson Show continues. Civil War already. Can you believe it? I guess we could have already played them once in the Far West Classic, but it's a game that always gets the coach excited. You've been involved in so many of these over the years, and you go back to the last game here last year, Jelani hits that big shot. That was a thriller, so it doesn't take much to get the blood pressure going, does it?
No, in fact, with only the 6 wins last year, 2 of them coming against the Ducks, that's kind of was our highlight, winning the Classic and beating the Ducks twice.
Well, you get a look at them here, of course, this week. And before we talk about the Ducks, get the coach's thoughts, it's time for the scouting report. So let's go out to the practice floor with assistant coach Andy McCloskey.
For personnel, this will be Kenya Wilkins. This will be Jeff Potter. Steve will be Zach Sellers. Russell will be Jamal Lawrence or Parker. Brent Berry will end up being Orlando Williams. We're going to walk through their box set, which will look like this. The forwards will pop it out here to the wing. Have a guard-forward exchange at the top. At the same time, Williams is setting a back screen here for the shuffle cut. They reverse the ball, and then they have a screen here for Williams on a pick-to-picker action. He's looking for his jump shot from the top of the key. Pull the ball back and show another little play that they like to run off of this set. They'll start out the same way. And then as the ball's reversed here, instead of throwing it, they'll ball fake to Wilkins and try to get him on a backdoor cut to the basket. What we're going to try to attempt to do defensively is two things. As these players dash to the wings, as the player who's guarding Sellers throws the ball back to the top, he's going to try to beat his man across this screen here set by Williams so we can negate the shuffle cut. Then after that, we're going to try to make sure that we're with Orlando Williams when he comes here to the top of the key to shoot his left-handed jump shot.
Well, it's not really a left-handed jump shot. It is when Brent Berry is playing Orlando Williams. It's been said of the Ducks, they've got two outstanding players in Orlando Williams and this guy, Kenya Wilkins, but they got 10 other guys they can put in there to play, and maybe depth is the biggest weapon Jerry Green has right now.
Well, he has not only depth, he has experience. He has an abundance of seniors that have played his system, and so they're in sync, so to speak. They play hard, they're very aggressive, and when their outside game is going, and then they got Potter and Johnson and some of the bigger players on the inside playing their roles, they're a very difficult team to beat, as SC and UCLA will attest to.
That's right, we're looking at highlights of them beating the Bruins here last Thursday night. You almost knew this was coming because they're playing with a lot of confidence, and to hear guys like Potter and Orlando Williams, who are not highly recruited, big-time college players, they have so much confidence in their game right now. That is scary because as a unit, they feel like they can beat anybody any night.
Well, when you have seniors, it makes a big difference, and they're playing like seven seniors, and when you get experience and you have some skill and you play together, you become a team, and they are a team. I'd say right now, as a group, they're probably one of the best unified teams on the West Coast.
And they got 10 wins already in the books. That doesn't hurt. They're really trying to send a message right now, but they deserve a little recognition.
Well, it does one thing. It gives you confidence. Winning helps that little bit of ego that you might have, and it just makes you a little tougher, makes you work harder, stay closer together, and we're going to have our work cut out for us. But we know what they do, we know how hard we have to play, and we're getting ourselves ready to play one of our best games. So we're looking forward to the challenge.
And it'll be certainly nice to sell this game out again. It's been a couple years since in either arena it's really been a complete sellout. We get a few more bodies in the seats here Saturday night. It'll be a good show.
Well, I think the fans are catching on to our team because our team is playing hard and they're playing well together. So our fans are let's say, going to be there to support us, and I think the Ducks will have some of their fans there. So it should be a packed house and a very, very exciting game.
So bring them on, the Civil War Round 1. You can watch it live on Prime Sports Northwest Saturday night. We'll talk about it next week right here on The Jimmy Anderson Show.
This is the Jimmy Anderson Show, the weekly report on Oregon State University basketball.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Akamian, along with the coach. This is the Jimmy Anderson Show, where we talk Oregon State basketball every week. Vladimir Heredia is in the house. He'll be joining us a little later on. We're going to recap the Civil War game with Oregon, look ahead to a trip up north to face the Huskies and Cougars. A lot of new looks out of those schools these days. 2 new coaches in 2 years and some familiar faces in Cougar land, but it's hard to tell what to expect up there nowadays.
Well, both are very ambitious programs, and I think both have very good young coaches with good backgrounds, and they're very ambitious. And I think they're doing an excellent job developing their programs, and they'll be tough teams to beat on this road trip. They're very, very competitive. They play hard. And so it's a real challenge for us, but we're looking forward to the trip north.
We'll get a scouting report later on both teams. The Huskies coming up Thursday night at Heck Edmondson Pavilion, and of course Saturday afternoon we'll be in the Palouse against the Washington State Cougars. Well, today, since there's only one game to talk about, we always give you expanded highlights of the Civil War matchup with the Oregon Ducks. Oregon wins 96-83 to go 11-1 on the year. They're in first place all by themselves in the Pac-10. One thing you got to say about Oregon, they are playing with a lot of confidence right now, and it really showed last Saturday.
Well, they got elevated in the polls too. I think they're 17th as of today. They play very hard, and they are playing with a lot of confidence. Nothing that we could do, really. Our defense in the first half stymied them at times, caused them numerous turnovers, but all in all, they just fought right on through any adversity, kept executing and kept staying at us, and finally we made enough mistakes ourselves and didn't capitalize enough, and they came out the easy victor.
Let's pick up the action from last Saturday night. Gill Coliseum, great crowd on hand for Civil War Round 1 of 1995. Oregon and Oregon State, 10,258. It was nice to see a big crowd in Gill for this one. Very intense on both sides of the ball early on. Brent Berry, steal, drives, rough at the other end. This one doesn't fall. Come back to the other end. Second chance, and the Chief will get the block, and this will lead to a basket. Mustafa Hoff very assertive early in the game.
Well, this is Stephen Brown with the ball. He sees a little opening, and he takes it right to the hoop.
Now we'll see the Chief with a little assist action. He'll find Brent Berry, and goes for a three-point play with the foul.
Well, against pressure, and they tried to pressure us out of our offense, what they did to some degree, but when we're functioning and we run the back door properly with our post people, it certainly does loosen up the pressure on the wings.
And Brent gets to the basket quickly. He'll make the free throw. Get a look at Mustafa again. Some more good defense here early on. Chief comes up with a steal. Now we're going to see Rob Williams getting up for a little block. The freshman from D.C. getting a little more playing time. What does Rob need now to get more time on the lineup?
Well, he needs more experience and more consistency in his play. His attitude is great, and he's working very, very hard. It's just a matter that he is a freshman, and sometimes he forces issues and makes very careless mistakes that hurt us, and we're trying to break him in slowly. I think this week north that he's going to see at least starting time and see what he does with it on this road trip.
Highlight of the week, the alley-oop to Mustafa. Nice run here midway through the first half. Get a look here at Vladimir Heredia making a couple of things happen. The JC transfer forces the turnover here. This will lead to a Williams basket. And later it's Heredia starting the offense in transition after the rebound.
Well, after our injury to Jerron Brown, actually our starting center, Vlad has come on very, very strong. And at this point, I'm not sure what's going to happen when Jerron comes back, but he's been a very, very healthy addition to our program and has just done an excellent job.
And at the other end now, Vlad will get the points all by himself, too. He can score, he can defend, he can rebound. And at this point, the Beavs have the biggest lead of the first half at 4, 17-13. Oregon comes back, playing hard, going to the hoop quickly. Parker gets loose, and we're going to see, I tell you, the crime dog of the Ducks, Potter. Seen a lot of him over these 4 years. He gets to the ball, and there's that pressure forcing the turnover.
Well, that's kind of a no-no in basketball. You're not supposed to stop in corners and let traps develop on you. There is a very questionable call on Brent Berry, but goes against us, and you can see there's a lot of competition going on, a little heated words there.
Brent comes up with another steal here as the first half progresses. One thing Oregon's doing well, the outside shot. And in this game, they really used the three-pointer to advantage to build a lead once they got it.
Well, Williams and Madden hit some key shots for us. In fact, one of the key shots that really hurt us when we were ahead early in the first half with about 10 minutes to go, and Madden hit a three-point. And that really kind of shut down the crowd. It kind of said that they're for real and that they're not going to go away. That was a big hoop for them.
Chief hit a bunch of free throws here, keeping it close in the first half. They get a big sequence here off a basket. Steal on the inbounds. Wilkins, so quick, goes to the hoop. And what was very close game becomes a 10-point spread at the half, 45-35. And you look at those halftime numbers. Ducks, 5 more three-pointers. A lot of chances at the free throw line for Oregon State. Oregon all over the boards. And look at the turnovers, really for both teams. But certainly you look at it as 18 turnovers. You can't have that in the half.
Well, that's actually ridiculous. And after reviewing the films, you could see that most of it was remissions on ourselves rather than being created by them. They hustled and took advantage of them, and that's to their advantage. But all in all, 18 turnovers, it was ridiculous. We had 24 for the game, 6 in the second half, because we just concentrated better.
Turnovers the big story. We'll come back with second half highlights of Civil War Round 1 when the Jimmy Anderson Show continues. This is the Jimmy Anderson Show. I'm Bob Akamian. We're recapping last week's Civil War game between Oregon and Oregon State. 10-point lead for the Ducks at halftime. We'll pick up the second half action here. We talked about how Oregon battled through the adversity. You get a chance to make a run at them. And right away in the second half, Oregon continued to push the ball to the hoop and extended the lead. And they get it to the big man here, Zach Sellers, back-to-back off the inbounds. All of a sudden, it's a 15-point game.
Yeah, it's not fun to set through that either. You know, you keep trying to find ways to narrow the gap, and really, in essence, if you don't do it with your defense, you're normally probably not going to get back in a game after you get down about 15 points. Your defense has to come to the front. You have to stop people on 4 or 5 possessions, and then you yourself have to score, and then the crowd gets back in it, and you get your energy going, and then you can have a chance. But we couldn't stop anybody, and that's our problem.
Great work there by Brent Berry on the floor, and you don't get the call there on that play out of bounds. Coming back to the other end, here's Steph Brown driving to the hoop as he always does. Puts it down. Brent Berry now. Watch him come from the top of the screen, and he'll end up with the ball. And again, there's the little runs, but it was just 2 baskets at a time. And that's it's not enough to get back into it. There's Brent going back to the hoop. This still makes it a 13-point game. Probably the big thing was just trying to get within single digits. That never happened in the second half.
No, because of things like this. See, there's another 3-point play by Madden. Madden, he did the same thing early on to stop a run for us. And if we can't stop people, and we know he's a 3-point shooter, then we're going to keep floundering. There's a nice bucket by Sonny Benjamin. Brent makes a nice play there. A lot of people on the floor on this game. A lot of rough play. A lot of people trying to take charges and going for loose balls, and it was a very physical game.
And here's one here. This is a 5th chance basket for Madden, who then draws the foul. gets them a line. And with about 8 minutes to go, this has pretty much put the game away. Get a couple stabs at him late. Jelani Bolin comes up with a couple of hoops, beating Kenya Wilkins. Get a look at Vlad Heredia here off the turnover.
Well, as you know, we lost Mustafa Hoff to foul trouble. Stephen Brown probably has one of his few bad games that he's had for us this year. I think he was 2 for 14, and he's usually counted on for maybe anywhere from 15 to 25 points. So in the end, it was a bad night for the Beavers and a good night for the Ducks.
There's your final numbers. Again, with 3-point shots, shooting a big difference in the game. The turnovers evening out, but it was the turnover margin in the first half that really told the story. Brent ends up, I guess, with a pretty quiet 31 points on the night to go with 7 rebounds. Chief has 19. Vlad Heredia, nice all-around game, 13 points and 8 rebounds. Oregon got good balance. They were led by Orlando Williams, who had 25 points. So you put that one to bed, you get another crack at him down in Eugene. When we come back, we're going to meet our player of the week, Vladimir Heredia, and take a look at a blast from the past. Lester Connor, the guy who can't quite retire from the NBA. We'll be back. I welcome Vladimir Heredia, the JC transfer forward, to the show. I know you came, it's been a long way here from Venezuela, 1 year of high school in Louisiana, South Plains Junior College. Where's home nowadays? What feels like home to you now?
Well, right now, Corvallis is my home. You know, it's just, I had to get adjusted, you know, every place I go. When I came to Grambling, I had to make a big adjustment. That was the hardest part of it. You know, since then it has been real easy, you know, get adjusted and get to know people, and just made me feel comfortable like I'm at home.
I remember I met you when you were on your visit here a year ago, and you were with Mustafa Hoff, and you seemed to be having a good time with him then, and I know Chief had a lot to do with you coming to Oregon State.
Yeah, I mean, he really, you know, Chief is someone I look up to a lot. You know, he works hard. You know, I like, you know, play with him. I enjoy playing with him. He's a great guy in and out the court. So is Brent Berry.
And I know with your rebounding numbers, I mean, you're getting up there in double figures in rebounding when you get the big minutes, and you're taking a lot of pressure off of him, too. When you can rebound, that opens him up to score more.
Yeah, rebounding has been a problem that I always had, you know, because of my position, and sometimes I don't watch ball action. And that's something that I'm trying to work and get better on. And I mean, I think we're doing a pretty good job, you know, even though that we don't have Jerome Brown, you know, who can, you know, contribute and rebounding too, because he's a center and, you know, he's the one who's there, you know, to grab the rebound. I try to help every time I come out the floor.
And I know, but Vlad seems to be the more minutes he gets, the more he produces.
Well, I'm very proud of Vlad. Vlad has improved on an almost daily basis, and I think the more he plays, the better he gets. He has good hand-eye coordination. I think he's very skilled, and as he understands how hard you have to continually work and how physical this game is, he's going to be able to use this big body a lot better. But I'm very proud of the way he plays.
He's going to make it tough on you when Jerron comes back. You're going to have to find minutes for all these guys.
Well, I think that'll be a nice problem to have, to be honest with you, because I know we work hard, we play hard, so our players do need a rest. And right now, with him gone, maybe Vlad is playing a few more minutes than probably his conditioning at this point really warrants.
I know, being new to America, though, you've picked up on the athletic tradition of doing things the same way on game day. What's your game day ritual like? What do you do the same way before every game?
Well, every time I get up, okay, in the game day, you know, we get up and say a prayer, you know, then come if we have a team meeting, you know, come to a team meeting, then walk home, you know, if I don't have it right. And I will sit at home and watch TV, try not to think anything at all, just leave my mind blank, you know, don't think about anything. Then before I leave to come to a game, I pray again. I used to call my mom, but every time I call my mom, you know, I find out that we'll be losing games, so, you know, I take that out of my ritual day, I mean, what I do every day before games. And once I get to the gym, you know, I'll be the last one to get dressed. You know, I always try to be the last one to get there, you know, and get dressed. Sometimes I'm not, sometimes Brand the last one, but I try to be the last one all the time. And I say my prayer after I get dressed. I say my prayer and then go back in the mirror room and don't think about the game at all.
Now, what's gonna happen if somebody else decides they have to come last?
Well, I'm not going to be the referee.
You're going to have a guy missing tip-off because, you know, Vlad wants to be the last guy here, somebody else.
They better be there on time. That's part of the ritual, too.
I mean, I try to be always there on time.
Yeah,
just,
right.
you know,
but at the last second, just to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for stopping in with us this week.
No
Continue good luck and good health out there. We know you took a hard fall on that hip, but I guess that came out okay, just a little bruise, right?
It's okay. Thank you.
All right, good luck on the Washington trip. Now, it's time for our look into the past of Beaver basketball this week. A visit with Lester Connor, a man we thought had retired from NBA basketball after 12 seasons, but you know Lester, if there's a ball game, he's going to play in it. Lester just signed a 10-day contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. We spoke with him earlier this fall about what we thought was his final retirement from the game of basketball.
Conditioning myself in my mind and in my body as well that one day it's going to come to an end. And I thought it was going to come to an end last season, but Larry gave me a call with the Pacers and got hooked on. So now the transition from playing is a little easier for me now because of the fact that I went through it in my mind last year. I played with the Magic Johnson tour team. I played with him, one of the greatest players of all time. So it still keeps me busy as far as basketball goes and doing a whole bunch of other things as well as far as business goes. So I'm still staying busy.
Let's talk about the longevity, though. That, and you know that can be unique in the league. You're one of all the Beavers who've played in the pros, you're now up there in the top 5 with Counts and Steve Johnson for most years.
Yeah. I've always taken good care of my body. I've never had any serious injuries. I've always had eaten right, slept right, and did the things that it takes to stay in shape.
What was it about Jimmy Anderson and recruiting that helped make that final decision? I mean, everybody says he's tenacious, he just stays with it. What kind of caught your mind, your family's mind?
Well, I think for me, his integrity was very good, and that's one thing that I wanted to make sure I got out of the program that I went to. Jimmy Anderson was straightforward. He was a family man, he was caring, and I found him to be very honest. A lot of the recruits was offering me a bunch of different things, offering my mom a bunch of different things, money, cars, even homes and jobs. but he had good integrity because he said, look, we can get you a great education. You'll come and play in front of a full arena, and we're in one of the best conferences around, and you'll be close to home. And he made a straight pitch, and that was one of the things that really made my decision easy for me because his integrity was great.
Boy, some kind words from Lester Connor. You got to like hearing that after all these years. What great resiliency for him, because I mean he has played for a long time, and he does that conditioning in the off season, and not surprising, the Lakers wanted him.
Well, I think he said the things that were important. He's taking care of himself. He's not a carouser. He's not one of these people that goes out and parties and stays up late. He takes care of himself. He stays in shape. He thinks good thoughts about people around him, so he knows how to get along with people and management. And so whenever they need somebody, he's not a thorn in anybody's side. He's always a help, and he helps the younger players on these teams, and he helps the coach. And so when you're trying to build a program and have stability, he offers more than just playing. He offers his whole life, really.
Now, very few junior college players have ever made it in this program, and Lester was a special circumstance, and got the next one right here. You're in select company, Vladimir, because not too many JCs have come in here over the years. When we come back, we're going to take a look at this week's opponents, the Cougars and the Huskies, as the Jimmy Anderson Show continues. This Pac-10 weekend begins in Seattle Thursday night. The Washington Huskies at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Bob Bender's been there 1 year, and he's turned that program upside down. 5 freshmen now playing this year, his great recruiting class of a year ago. A couple of transfers, and you don't recognize these dogs too much.
Well, no, and they added 2 big guys on the inside, and that's with Amos and Sanford in there. They have size, and then their backups are very active too. So all of a sudden, they're giving everybody fits at home. As we know, they beat Michigan. I think maybe they were rated at that time, Michigan. So they're very hard to defend. They're an excellent defensive team, and they'll be tough to beat.
Now, they're good at home, and of course, a year ago, the last Husky Pac-10 win was against, guess who? It was us up there. So they've got that little taste of that. And of course, the transfers, seeing a lot of action, and they were pretty good where they were. Mike Amos was at Creighton and saw a lot of action there, and they got Jason Hamilton, who had been freshman of the year in the WAC at San Diego State. Right. So he had to wait a year, but he's got some bodies now.
They have some depth, and Boston has been a big scorer for him this year, and he was a fine player last year for him. So They have enough depth at the inside and outside that they can do a variety of things. So we're going to see changing defenses and different offensive sets and a tough defense on man-to-man. So we better be ready to play.
All right, the Huskies are up first, and then coming up on Saturday afternoon, Washington State in Pullman. For a little bit of a breakdown on the Cougars, let's go to assistant coach Richie Wold.
Today we're going to look at Washington State's scouting report. They have a couple of offenses they run. One of them is called triangle. They have two different ways of getting into it. The first one is dribble at. Go ahead and get started. Dominic Elson will dribble over. Isaac Fontaine is swinging through. They reverse the basketball to Hendrickson. Hits a back, and they try to get it down on the block to Carlos Daniel. From there, they're just going to continue it, reversing the ball, screen and block to block. They're just going to stay in it, trying to get the ball in the low block. Okay, take it on top. In this second scenario, wings pop up a little bit higher. Similar to Oregon State's offense, they're going to hit the wing. Isaac Fontaine, 55% three-point shooter. Drops down, reverse the ball. They screen block to block, and they really like to get Carlos Daniel on the block for a quick one. And then once again, stay out. Once again, they just go into triangle. They have quite a bit of success with this offense. And this is the Washington State triangle offense.
Cougs off to that 6-5 start. Now, they got everyone's attention by winning their first two games at home, and they went down to L.A. and kind of came back to earth a little bit. New coach in Kevin Eastman, but a lot of the same guys. You look at their first 7-8, they still have Corcoran and Vick off the bench. Hendrickson, of course, now getting a lot of NBA looks at the forward spot. Isaac Fontaine, he is hitting three-pointers like you wouldn't believe.
He's shooting like Williams at Oregon, but Hendricks is their bread and butter man. Hendricks does so much. He can shoot out, go in. He's a banger, a great leader, great inspiration. I'd love to watch him play.
Interesting situation there because Kevin Eastman did a great job in North Carolina. Wilmington really starting from ground zero. He goes to Wazoo and inherited a program in between talent-wise, and Kevin's not fooling around.
Well, he got his comeuppance a little bit when he went down to Southern California because he found out that it's tough to play on the road. He got 2 good wins at home, lost on the road, and I'm sure he wants to rebound for this weekend.
One thing I know you're spending a lot of time on this week is working against the press because some teams have had some success against you. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of it.
Well, we play against the press almost every day in practice, so I don't mind seeing the press. What bothers me is when we throw the ball away. And a lot of times it's not because they're causing it. We just have to take care of that basketball. It's valuable. And it's costing us games.
On the road to Washington this week, back home, big games with the Arizona schools. Could be 2 ranked teams coming into Gill Coliseum. We'll talk about it next time out on the Jimmy Anderson Show.
This is the Jimmy Anderson Show, the weekly report on Oregon State University basketball.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Akamian, and along with the coach, welcome to the Jimmy Anderson Show. Pac-10 basketball spoken here every week, and what a week coming up. Both Arizona schools coming into town, ready for a postseason right now. The Sun Devils have elevated their game, and of course the Cats making that Saturday visit. It's going to be an exciting couple of games at Gill Coliseum.
Well, I think these will be 2 of the exciting games that we'll have this year at Gill Coliseum because we know both of them are talented and they're rated in the top 25 in the country. They have excellent talent, and I think our team right now is in a mood to invite them to Corvallis, and we're anxious for them to come visiting.
And the conference race is clear as mud after 3 weeks. UCLA has probably made the boldest statement now by going down to the desert and winning twice.
Well, that's the big thing about these upcoming games, the Arizona schools are coming up here kind of on a crusade because they know that if they want a chance to win the Pac-10 title, they got to win on the road because UCLA just did that at their place.
Now let's talk about Oregon State now. It was quite a swing from Thursday to Saturday up in the state of Washington. Thursday night, of course, very disappointing the way the Huskies were able to put that game away. But to come back, you got on Friday in practice, and they may have turned in the best effort of the season Saturday against the Cougars.
Well, to touch on the Husky game to start with, we played, I thought, a very, very solid first half. And we started out the second half in good shape, and then all of a sudden we make about 4 just bonehead plays to our discredit, and all of a sudden we can't stop them, and then they get that spurt, and we pretty much just, the dam broke, and the game was over.
Well, we're going to start with highlights of that game, brief highlights from Thursday night.
Good,
but we'll give the folks a look at the game Thursday night up at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. A new face in the starting lineup, and for now he's here to stay. Robert Williams, true freshman out of the powerful DeMatha High School, and he got some big minutes in this both games, especially against the Huskies.
Well, Robert's done an excellent job for us this year. He started out on a quick note. He's a freshman, and we kind of used him in some spots kind of sparingly, but he's earning his time now, and this is what's important for us to understand, is that you don't just get positions, you earn them, and he's playing good defense, he's leading us, and he's doing a lot of nice things.
Take a look at Vladimir Heredia showing continued growth. In fact, this was his best rebounding game of the season. Probably the best stat out of this game was Vlad's rebounds. Get some good early offense here. And Washington came back and got in the game with a lot of second chances like this one.
Well, you could see where one of our players was slipping out of the picture, and our guards are supposed to be some of our main rebounders. There's a nice play by Vlad turning into the middle, which we like him to do, and he comes up with 2 solid points for us.
Stephen Brown starts this one with the steal, bad pass. Steph is waiting, and he'll get Mustafa Hoffer. Mustafa will get the basket on the other end after the miss.
It's a good hustle move on his part getting down there. A lot of times people hold up at midcourt thinking, well, it's a cinch play, and he certainly didn't rely on just the first shot.
This one was rough and tumble a lot of the way, a lot of contact here. Probably shouldn't have been a foul called either way. This was just a car wreck.
Looked just like a hustle move on both sides.
Got Mark Weisensee into the game, one of the walk-ons. See him there working for the offensive board.
Well, Mark does an excellent job for us in practice, and we just felt that he deserved a little shot to just see what he could do in this particular game.
Dead even at halftime. Brent Berry only 2 points. Huskies haven't shot a free throw yet, but you talk about those big plays, it's plays like this that help Washington take control.
Well, there's no question about it. Those are kind of the mistakes that we make, and I don't know how you coach against things like that, and all of a sudden we do a couple charges, we lose a ball in the middle of the break, and then they get a shot such as that. They pretty much pick us apart at times.
Mark Sanford was the big gun for the Dogs of the night, especially in the second half. He ended up with 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 block shots. He was very active as the Huskies took the lead. This was the last real surge, about the 10-minute mark. Brent and Steph get into it to get a couple of back-to-back hoops. This one will come on the transition with Stephen Brown.
But we do a lot of things very well, and then again, I've said many times we shoot ourselves in the foot, and our defense has to be more solid. The percentage of shots that are made on the inside for the opposition is just getting too high a percentage.
And then probably the lingering question on offense from this game. Brent Berry only gets 7 shots. You know he's got to shoot the ball more in any game.
Well, he needs to shoot for us 15 to 20 times a game, and he knows that, and I hope that with future games that he understands the importance of him getting some balls up in the air, especially when he's open. And he's open many times, and he's maybe trying to run the offense or do something else. He's been told he needs to shoot.
Steph Brown gets in there for a nice block, and Steph will come up with some late points. He ends up with 11 on the game to go with 5 rebounds, 2 block shots, 3 assists, and a steal. But in the end, the Huskies pull away for victory, 75-57. Shake hands with Mr. Bender, doing a good job up in Seattle. And we'll take a look at the happy numbers from this game. Not so happy on this night. And it looks pretty even on the shooting percentage, but the turnovers were inopportune, and the rebounding, Washington probably shouldn't be that even on the boards.
Well, our three-point shooting has gone very, very sour. percentage of shooting for the opposition shouldn't be that high. We just need to play better basketball, and I think we were kind of at rock bottom after this game, and our team did come back against the Washington State Cougars.
And when we come back, we'll talk about that one. The Cougars, Saturday afternoon in Pullman, turned out to be a barn burner. Stay with us as the Jimmy Anderson Show continues. Well, before we talk about the Washington State game, let's do the injury update for the week. Jelani Boleen, sore back, in and out.
Still sore back, still getting treatment. Takes a little longer to stretch and get going full speed, but he can play.
And, yeah, so we'll see him out there. David Drakeford, though, now done for the year, going to redshirt.
He's going to redshirt, but he is on our scout team, and he's probably going 3/4 speed right now. He's not playing with great confidence on his knee, but I think for everybody's concern, his parents, and his future, probably redshirt's the best deal.
And Jerron Brown?
Jerron Brown is going for treatment, and the book is still out on him, what's going to happen. Got to get things straightened away that we take care of business with him first in a lot of other areas too, so we'll just wait and see what happens on that one.
All right, let's pick up action now from Pullman on Saturday afternoon. Always a tough place to play. I remember Mario Jackson hitting a big shot up there for a win a couple of years ago, but it's a battle with the Cougs. This turned into a very exciting game, and after they jump out to a 7-point lead, we started really taking it to the hoop, and Vladimir Heredia got it started.
Well, this was probably one of, not necessarily our best executed games, but probably one of the best games in regards to us playing team concept, helping each other, recovery, playing hard every ball possession, looking to do the things within the offense that is dictated. So I was very, very pleased with this effort.
See a couple of defensive stands there by Vlad and Mustafa Hoff getting the block shot. Of course, you got to keep an eye on this guy, Mark Hendrickson, who had a game, but really it did keep him under control a lot of the way.
Well, this is the early part of the game that you just showed here, and we got behind quickly on their press, and we changed a couple personnel in bringing the ball up, and then it was in the factor. But as you're talking about Hendricks, he was a pain on our side all night long because he's strong in scoring, strong on